The problem of security in Congo started at independence when Prime Minister Lumumba was killed. And then you had got agents of foreign interests taking over power in the form of Mobutu. Congo has never settled properly. And the immediate problem now is that actually for a long time, Congo has been either supporting or harboring the enemies of other countries. The Mobutu used to support Savimbi of Angola, used to support Holden Roberto of Angola.
This is the journey to one Africa.
Okay, I understand, Mr. President. Let's move away from that and let's talk about the animosity in Rwanda and the DRC. We are receiving reports that more refugees are fleeing to your country. The conflict is still ongoing. Lieutenant General Muhoozi, who is also your son, was accused of fueling tensions through posting on his Twitter, which I'm told you have already advised him to stop. But in essence, you are among the leaders who met in Nairobi over the conflict. The presidents ordered the deployment of forces to the area. However, DRC residents are opposed to the deployment. Blame game is very high, Mr. President. What is really causing this rift and what can be done to stop this?
The problem of security in Congo started at independence when Prime Minister Lumumba was killed. And then you had got agents of foreign interests taking over power in the form of Mobutu. Congo has never settled properly. And the immediate problem now is that actually for a long time, Congo has been either supporting or harboring the enemies of other countries. The Mobutu used to support Savimbi of Angola, used to support Holden Roberto of Angola. We have got ADF in Congo, we have got other groups from Uganda, then you have groups from Rwanda, the Interahamwe. So that's really the origin of the problem. The Congo either supporting or simply harboring these enemies of other countries, of the neighboring countries. But now we have got a regional forum, the East African Forum, chaired by His Excellency Kenyatta. And we think now this problem can be solved because we talked frankly in Nairobi. Yes, the external players may make their own mistakes, but the original problem started with the Congo.
You have mentioned consistently DR Congo, but you've not mentioned Rwanda. What role does Rwanda play in this whole conflict?
Well, how Rwanda started with Congo was that there was an internal problem in Rwanda, which started in 1959, started by the Belgians, who massacred Tutsis and sided with some local traitors called the Hutu extremists. Now that generated a Tutsi diaspora from 1959, which stayed out of Rwanda until 1990 when they made a comeback. And in the fight, the foreigners decided to back the Hutu extremists to kill 1 million people. You must have heard of that, the genocide. Then the Tutsis now. Then, but this did not save the Hutu regime. the Hutu regime was defeated, and they fled with their supporters to Goma, to Eastern Congo, with their arms. And we begged Mobutu to disarm them. He refused, until the Tutsis in Eastern Congo, called Banyamulenge, took up arms and attacked these Hutus, who then. So that's the whole problem. For me, I don't want to say this one is to blame. We know the problem. The problem started with, as I told you, Congo being either supporting or harboring, and then the outsiders can also make their own mistakes, but the original problem is the other one. Because if it was not there, it would not be possible for Rwanda, for instance, to be involved in Congo 1990. No, 1994.
Okay, Mr. President, over the past months, the continent has been facing a spate of violence, including in the Sahel, West Africa, Ethiopia, Sudan, and now East Africa, which includes DRC and Rwanda. What do you think about the role of the organizations like the African Union, ECOWAS, and SADC? Are they weak? Do they assist the continent in any way?
They are weak, but they assist. They can assist. For instance, in the decolonization of Africa, when we were chasing the whites and the Portuguese from Africa in Mozambique, in Angola, Zimbabwe, Ian Smith, South Africa, the African OAU played a crucial role by supporting the liberation movements. After we defeated the whites in Southern Africa, there was some relaxation and some diversion, some lack of concentration. That's how we allowed NATO to attack Libya. We should not have allowed it. We should have confronted NATO, but we didn't. So the consequences, all this chaos you are seeing in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, and so on. But these organizations can, like we did when we defeated the Portuguese and defeated Ian Smith and defeated the whites in South Africa and in Namibia and in Guinea-Bissau. These organizations have the potential. They have the potential, we have the capacity to really save Africa from these criminals and traitors and imperialists.
Now that you've mentioned that, Mr. President, what do you think about the late Gaddafi's analogy that United States of Africa is feasible and can and should be formed?
I never supported Gaddafi's idea or Nkrumah's idea. It was not only Gaddafi, even Nkrumah believed in an all-African Union government. I never supported that. What I support and what I supported was what is already taking place, the continental free trade area, which can become an African common market. Economic integration for the whole of Africa, but political integrations for parts that are either similar or compatible, like, for instance, East and Central Africa, which are very, very similar or compatible.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your feedback. Mr. President, let's now move away from that and talk about your country and you now. The World Bank has just released a report that says Uganda remains a low-income country. Prior to this report, you had said the economy had risen to middle-income status. Why is there a contradiction between what you said and the World Bank?
Well, what I said was that the GDP per capita now at $1,046 has just entered the middle income bracket, which is $1,036 or $39. But in order to be declared official, I said so in my speech, you need to maintain that or surpass it for 3 consecutive years. So there is no contradiction. There is no contradiction. It must be I didn't say we have already become, I said we are entering.
This is the journey to One Africa.